I've made this cute little critter card here, and the focus is using planner stamps other than for planning. So I've used this cute little dog and the word love in time for Valentine's Day. This Tailored Expressions embossing folder, Know the Ropes, this MFT Blueprints dies, and also this Lawn Fawn large cross stitched circles, and this W+9 stainless steel tags die, and Lawn Fawn white. Now the first one we used and stamp sets is from the Tailored Expressions calendar critters. The first thing to do that I had done here is emboss the front of the top folding white cardstock panel here, and that's just to give it some texture, and the texture on this is just amazing. I'm actually becoming more of a fan of the Tailored Expressions embossing folders more and more. I'm just loving more the three-dimensional type look of their embossing folders. So I lost the footage stamping this actual dog on this panel here. I don't know what happened. I tried to look for it and I couldn't find it anywhere. I think it might have been distorted, or I probably forgot to press go. So all I did was just use the Lawn Fawn ink in Manatee and just repeat stamp along the panel. Now once I've finished cutting that down to size, I've adhered some ribbon. This is just a Blushing Bride ribbon from my stash, my Hoard Vault. I seem to not use my ribbon as much anymore, but I realise how much I love them, and it's purely because I don't want to waste them. But come on, I just had to dust off that dust and use them up. And then I've got some foam tape here, and I'm just putting that on that panel so it's going to pop up off the actual card. And that Blushing Bride was adhered with a red line tape. Now I'm just kind of figuring out the design as I go. I had a plan in my head, but I actually never had made this card yet, so I was just winging it. And then with the cross stitch, I've got that same grey tone cardstock, and I've die cut a white tag. And then I've just put some tape on the left side. I've got also a little bit of twine on the top of that tag as well, same kind of colour family. And I'm going to trim off this actual cross stitch circle just so it can go embedded behind the tag. I've used some VersaFine ink to stamp the doggy, the little puppy with holding a heart, and I'm going to colour it in with my Prismacolor pencils. Now this is not an ink you'd normally use with the Prisma, but I was really gentle with my colouring. I wasn't really happy with that first one, so I do stamp it again. Because sometimes the VersaFine, if not dried properly, can actually smudge with colouring, so it's best to use a dye-based ink, but just with my gentle colouring in hand I was able to make it work. I just wanted, I actually didn't think about it until afterwards, so I'm just like, nah, I'll just go with the flow. Okay, so with this love sentiment on some pink cardstock, it's like more a peachy cardstock, I have used the Lawn Fawn white embossing powder, heat set that, and then also I want to stick this behind with some Tombow Mono liquid adhesive. And once I've done that, I'm actually happy with that layout, and that's the layout I'm going to stick with. And just putting some liquid adhesive behind the sentiment as well. I created a generic card, so this love can be used for Valentine's Day, it can be used for friendship, it can be used for anything sweet really, and I just left it to that. So you can really mass produce this kind of layout just by die cutting multiples of the actual dies as well. Now this little doggy, I've used my Prismacolor pencils here to colour this sweet little thing in, and I also die cut, you can see like a shadow that I'm going to create by cutting the same dies twice, same doggy twice. So I'm going to place this behind the actual doggy. So once I finish colouring him in, I start off with my really light colours first, and I colour the ears differently to the rest of the body, and as well as the tail and the toes. This beautiful blushing pink colour here with my Prismacolor pencil, I've kind of tried to coordinate with the same colour of the ribbon, but it was quite light, so I do bring into view then another dark kind of colour just on the outside of the heart, and then slowly working my way in, but to kind of leave the centre of the heart that blushing kind of pink. And I just go more gentle towards the inside of the actual heart. And once I'm finished with that, I colour his little tongue and nose in the same kind of blushing pink, and then I add a little bit of blush towards his cheeks. I thought that was really cute. And then just bringing some brown tones in. I'm going heavy on the outline of the actual puppy, and that's how I kind of colour, even with my Copic colouring and my watercolouring. I just seem to go more from the edges and then work my way in. I don't think about too much about light sources unless I really feel like it is a type of image that you have to. I just kind of enjoy the colouring process of it all. If I put too much sort of into it, I feel like it sucks the fun out of it, so I just kind of just wing it and enjoy the process really. And then just doing some extra shadows here, just where I feel like there would be shadows, as again, not putting too much thought, just going with the flow of it all. Now I adhere this little critter down onto the shadow die cut, and I'm going to use some Couture Creations 3D Squares foam mount, which is these little mini ones. They're really good for intricate details, and plus that extra pop. I feel like it's that extra dimension that sometimes your card needs. And I've got my black Jelly Roll pen just to make the eyes stand out just that little bit more. And I bring in, once I'd adhered that down, I realized I need to add some little bit of embellishments throughout the card. So that's where I bring in my Nuvo jewel drops, my crystal drops, and my glitter drops. So this jewel drops here, I actually just add to the little pink to the nose, and this one's a little bit translucent, and I absolutely love this one. So this one's got like a pinky tone to it. It's called Rosewater. The glitter drops that I use is the White Blizzard, and I just use that on the heart. And for the other embellishments, I've pre-used what I've created, some Nuvo drops already. That's the crystal drops, and I use this jewel picker. So I use the white, the carnation pink, and the bubblegum blush, and this combo is what I use on the card. And I've pre-made them, but I just wanted to show you the color combo that I've used. And I use my jewel picker to pick these up, the pre-made ones, and to adhere them down with multi-matte medium. And you can really see this jewel picker is really awesome to pick. The only thing is if you use liquid adhesive, I'd probably recommend placing that down first rather than just putting liquid adhesive on the side and picking it up. I found it a little bit more difficult this way, so if you're able to put the adhesive down first directly on the card, then place the drops on there, then I find it would be better. So I was happy overall with the design layout of this card. This is quite a common design layout that I use, but this time added some texture on the card front, and using this cute little critter from the planner set. So you don't have to use planners really. So if you're happy to use your actual little critters for other things, it's another way to use them.